I'm Harvey Hubbell, and this is Harvey Hubbell's Show and Tell, but enough about me. Who are you, and what do you do?
I'm Harvey Hubbell. Too. All right, I'm Howard Rosenfeld, board president of the Farmers Table, and a very passionate supporter of Connecticut Farm Strong.
Bingo. How'd we meet?
We met. Did we meet? I think we met over some cocktails and hors d'oeuvres at a farm a year ago, 2 years ago. 2 years ago.
A little bit longer than 2 years ago.
Yeah, maybe longer than 2 years ago.
I heard about you. All these people are telling these.
You are. Oh, no, actually, that's not even true. We met on a webinar that you were giving back in the day, and we were talking about. The subject was local area farming. You brought in a bunch of people. You were wanting to do and share some of the plans that you had, that you were building for Chanticleer Acres.
And we're dealing with our town and our community.
Town and community.
So both of us, this is kind of what we do. So my question is how do you help farms? How do you help farms?
Okay, so
and why do you help farms?
Why? Okay, well, when Cheryl and I came up here, we saw the agricultural history of the area, the legacy. We felt that that there was not enough awareness on the part of the community of just how important these farmers are to us and to our well-being. And so we set about trying to figure out a strategy and a plan to help them and help ourselves through building effective community, and farmers are at the core of a healthy community.
So before I met you, I would go to dinner and people would say, you have to meet Howard, you have to meet Howard. It's like Kaiser Soze, you know? It was like everybody's telling me about all these different things that you were doing. So actively, you have I'm not going to put you on the spot, but you have statistics on farms, and we're losing a lot of farms. I don't know exactly the numbers, but there's going to be less and less, and potentially, if people are aware of it, we were just talking about the price of eggs. And you're going to give your kids farm-raised eggs or eggs that have been sitting in the supermarket for a couple months?
Okay, well, I just saw a headline the other day. It was like Friday, that farm bankruptcies are up to the highest level in 6 years now, which is a very frightening thing. Now, that's not a New England statistic. Those more relate to Midwest and West Coast. But to me, that it emphasizes the importance of making sure we have a strong, resilient local food economy, and that means strong, resilient local farmers. The other headline that kind of grabbed my attention was that the Rio Grande, or the body of people that regulate where the water goes for the Rio Grande River, which is at historic lows. A lot of people have heard about the Colorado River and all the discussions about that and who should get the water and who shouldn't get the water. Should the farmers get it? Should the cities get it? Well, the Rio Grande is equally as challenged. And the decision that was made was that the farmers were not going to get the water. So they're going to be decommissioning farmland in Texas or in the Rio Grande watershed, all of which speaks to with the drought, climate change, and the other situations that are occurring out west. It really speaks very strongly, in my mind, to the need for a strong, resilient local food economy, because our food chain basically is breaking or broken, and that's going to continue to multiply and increase over the course of the coming years.
Wait, I'm the dumbest guy in the room here. That you know, people eat maybe 3 times a day, maybe more, maybe less, but they eat every day.
Right.
It's food. Now, we have a lot of processed food. We know where that's going. Like the farmers, if you and your family support local farms. You're investing in your kids' health. You're not giving them, I just heard somebody saying that the geosulfates that are in the flour that we use give people Parkinson's. I mean, it's not too hard to, to do a little bit of reading and doing a little bit of understanding, and that you want to eat whole foods, you want to eat vegetables as much as you can. You want to, if you're going to eat meat, you want to know where the meat's coming from. You can buy them from your local farms. So this is an important thing that you're talking about here, Howard.
Yeah, well, I mean, not only that, I mean, but back to your point about health outcomes and food. People focus on the cost of at the cash register for their food bill. And they talk about the fact that they really would love to support their local farmers, but they can't necessarily afford it. But, that does not necessarily take into consideration the increased medical bills down the road as a result of eating food that's ultra processed or perhaps not as healthy for them as locally grown food, locally processed food.
I mean, when you look in the news, you can hear people saying that they've skipped meals because of economically. Right now, presently, the Straits of Hormuz are like, who knows what they're doing. If you're getting fertilizer or diesel fuel or any of the elements that you need through there, the season is already underway. Farmers have made decisions not to fertilize things, so certain crops aren't there. Tariffs in Mexico are up. The tomato is up 40%. So to your point, you can buy from your local farmer now, and it's better for you, and you're helping out your neighbor. Correct. And you're teaching your kids good things, and
it's not ripening on a 3,000-mile journey across the country. It's being picked that day or the day before, the day you're purchasing it. You couldn't be eating more biodynamic, vital, vibrant, healthy food than eating locally.
That makes me want to go to a farmer's market.
And you should. And again, people say, well, the farmer's market prices are just higher than our grocery prices. But, with all the different geopolitical things that are going on, the food bills are raising. We're seeing it in the headlines. We're seeing it in the realities. So the price pressure on our local area producers is not as great. They're not dealing with the tariffs on their products. They're not necessarily dealing with the fertilizers because a lot of our local area farmers are using regenerative practices. They're creating their own fertilizer for their product. So they don't necessarily have to bring in those outside amendments. So their costs stay relatively comparable to where they've been. Now the gap starts to narrow. Maybe that gap narrows enough so that people in the community will say, I believe enough in the importance of keeping my farmers healthy to pay that little bit of differential.
Okay, so the other day, I'm just minding my own business on the farm, just hanging out, and Eric Hahn shows up.
Okay.
And he comes up and he wants to help out farmers. And he has this bee in his bonnet, and he wants to help out, or that's someplace you put the bee. I don't know where it goes, but anyway, you got a bee someplace, and he wants to help out farmers. He wants to have a concert. One of the things when you were talking about the webinar that we were involved in, the zoning in my town doesn't really allow certain things. It's trying to, and that happens all across this country because of all these different zoning things of how does your farm fit in. Well, down the road is Emily March and March's farm. That's a fourth generation farmers on that piece of land over there. I said, you got to call. I said, there's two people you got to call, Howard and Emily. And that's why we're here. So tell me what happened with Farmstrong and what's going on and how it started. That's the first part of it. Then you get involved, and he's an idea man. You're an administrator. You're
not an idea man.
You're not an idea man. Not an idea man.
But I know how to get stuff done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wanted to,
Okay.
Yeah. So you're a getter-doner. Getter-doner. Okay. So tell me what happened. So we call you up, or how'd you get?
So my friend Harvey.
Yep.
Called me up and said, I want you to meet Eric. Come on over. We want to have a conversation. And Eric, who had been at our last Farmers Table dinner, which was hosted by Harvey and Chanticleer Acres, in August of 2025, said that he came out of that event with an idea to help farmers, and he wanted to know how we could pursue that. So, so he proposed a concert, musical concert, modeled on a couple of the local festivals. Farm Aid, actually, which is a national, Willie Nelson, and I wish I could remember the other two guys that were really key drivers behind that. But anyway, what we could do for a local area Farm Aid type event that would help our farmers. Now that really lit up a box in my mind, because for years the Farmers Table, which we've been involved for 15 years now, we've been providing help for farmers. Help through programming, through initiatives, through websites, through workshops. But we never really had the vehicle with which to help the farmers directly. And we felt that that was a missing link. That was a need that was out there. You know, farmers often face, their lives are unpredictable. They face a lot of insecurity, especially in terms of emergency, unanticipated expenses. They've been buffeted lately by the loss of federal funding programs. They've been hit by the cuts in SNAP benefits, which not only affect their customers at the farm stands and at the farmers markets, but also affects their own families, because a lot of our local area farmers are right at or below that federal level necessary to qualify for SNAP benefits. So all of a sudden, a pretty challenging profession becomes that much more challenging. So we felt that one of the things that was missing was the ability to help farmers directly in terms of providing financing, funding, and support for them to handle some of those critical and emerging needs.
So how?
Yeah.
What happens? Is this, you break your arm, your tractor needs repair? Give me.
You break your arm, your kid breaks his arm, tractor needs repair. If you're in a more beneficial, if you're in expansion mode on your farm, people are seeing it and recognizing it and seeing opportunities. They want to shop there more often, and you have a need for additional equipment to grow that business. Then where do you go? You know, there's a grant cycle that operates through the Department of Agriculture and other private area foundations, but those are often they're pretty rigorous application process. There's a calendar for it. You know, the grant is due the application is due by May. You find out in August. You get your money in October, and that doesn't necessarily match, that calendar doesn't necessarily match up with an emerging need or an emergency or critical need. So on that basis, we felt that maybe this could help plug that gap. And we also spoke with Ella Kennan at the New Connecticut Farmers Alliance, and she has been after this as well. How do we feel about trying to come together and create some kind of fund that can help farmers with emergency needs?
So let me see if I got this right. So we're having a concert.
Having a concert.
At March Farms.
Yeah.
On
August 22nd.
22nd. And the average American, the average person living in the northwest corner of Connecticut, or New York State or Massachusetts, any place around, it feels like driving over, they can help build that fund by coming to the concert, buying a t-shirt,
buy a ticket. Farmers come for free. Kids below the age of 12 come for free. And for a day of festivities on the hillside, food, music, and fun. And the net proceeds of that event will provide the basis for this fund.
And this is brand new. This is the first time ever doing it.
Brand new.
So this is the way. So if you moved into the area, or if you've been here for a while, you get to meet all the farmers. You get to say, hey, I want to, we should really just go visit these farms every weekend. We can buy food direct, We can watch the season growing. We
Correct.
can go to the farmer's market. We can get to, and you know what I'm about to say, Howard. You know, I'm going to say the word unity is in the word community.
Correct.
You know,
Correct.
and you get out there and you support, and you're watching the local bands. You're talking to the local farmers, and you're making friends.
Yes, and one of the other things is that, and one of the reasons that the Farmers Table is involved in this thing, other than just promoting the mission, and it's an extension of our mission, is that the Farmers Table is a nonprofit 501c3 organization. So by bringing Connecticut Farm Strong under the umbrella, the fiscal sponsorship umbrella of the Farmers Table, all proceeds that the Farmers Table, that Connecticut Farm Strong receives, will be tax deductible to the donor.
You know, Howard, you're a thinker. I tell you that all the time. You are a thinker. You know, so all right. So now we made it possible that with Eric's idea, then everybody coming together and bringing it together. You know, and he's a marketing genius. He has Connecticut Wonderful, and he has a Farm Strong site. So now our community can show up. Your kids can learn about these farms. You can go travel to those places. You can see where your food is produced from. You can always use always use the lesson to learn, and you can teach your kids about health, nutrition, and hard work,
And community.
And community. Pretty good. Okay, so tell me more about why. I just said it all. I probably took your best lines. What else? Why should a family be involved? There's so many things to do on a weekend. Why should a family get involved?
I think you have to experience it to really see the magic in it. I remember taking my grandkids to March Farm for pumpkin picking years ago. You know, we could have gone to the mall, we could have gone to a playground, we could have gone to a lot of different things, but something with their feet on the ground, petting the animals, and playing in the hay bales. Emily has built, and her family has put together they have a beautiful property there. They built tractors out of hay bales, and my grandson couldn't wait to get up on it to drive his tractor. And so that kind of experience is a wholesomeness to it. There's just, you're out in the fresh air, you're shopping at the farm store, buying fresh stuff. The apples just taste a little bit crisper, a little bit better when you're there.
They make them there.
And they make them there.
The apples are made there. The orchards, your kids get to go into the orchards, you get to walk around. I mean, who in their right mind would not want to go hang out there?
I agree with you.
And then you get to
not many better ways to spend a day.
Not many better ways to spend a day. And then it's part of why we live where we live, and we do what we do.
And we want to keep that the same way, that experience for generations to come.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because nobody really tears down housing developments to put up a farm, but they tear down farms. And we just talked about all these reasons, that farms fail. But this is opportunities for more consumers to come to the farms and have experiential times. I mean, we just had a bunch of kids from Waterbury come up, and we had 41 students coming up, and they were in with the chickens, and just like, this is what our people used to do all the time, but nowadays you got to go someplace to see goats and chickens. And
to your earlier point, a lot of our local area towns are really starting to address agritourism as a very important and viable part of a farm business, because farming is by nature is not a very profitable business. So the farmers need to become very creative in terms of how they can supplement their income, and one of the ways is agritourism. So the COG, actually the Council of Governments, the Northwest Hills Council of Governments, with which the Farmers Table is working in terms of trying to bring a stronger farming voice into those discussions, is working with the individual towns to see about how they can affect their zoning regulations, the language in those zoning regulations to be a little bit more permissive of farms creating these tourism type events or activities on the farm that won't necessarily, they won't inhibit the experience of their next door neighbors, but by the same token, they'll enhance the experience of the farmers and the probability that the farmers will be will be able to stay in business for longer.
And we have to think creatively, and we have to think creatively in our own farm, how we've done things differently. 100 years ago it was a dairy farm, but there's not a lot of money in dairy farms in Connecticut right now. And now I see we're selling starter plants, and so we have the greenhouses. We're starting the plants there, and you're going to take tomatoes home that were started by somebody else, and you're going to be able to plant them in your own backyard, and you're doing that. Nothing tastes better than growing your own food.
Absolutely.
You get the soil, you get the sun, you got your kids. You're talking about plants,
and the pride that you have in knowing that you tended that plant yourself.
You bet. Picking it,
harvested it. Perfect.
You bet. Okay, so how do people get tickets?
There's a website that'll be up, ConnecticutFarmStrong.com, and there'll be a QR code on there that will take you to the ticket queue. It's a day-long It's a day-long event, 1 p.m. to 8 p.m. on August 22nd at March Farm in Bethlehem. Should be a lot of fun. Tickets are $30. Again, farmers come for free, and kids below the age of 12 will be for free as well.
Tell me again, where does the money go to? Now, $30 goes into that little cigar box over there, so you buy your tickets in advance, or you buy them at the door?
Buy your tickets in advance or buy them at the door. There's a no rain date policy, so we're anticipating that probably more people will buy at the door. I don't think I want to say that. You guys didn't want to hear that? Okay. So buy your tickets online, and the proceeds of those tickets will be put towards this Farmers Fund, which helps out farmers in need. And yes.
Helps out our neighbors, which are farmers in need.
Our neighbors.
And you and I have talked about this. I come from Litchfield, Connecticut, where Possum Queen helps out the community, and so this is just the next part of it, is helping out the farmers in our community locally, and not expecting Big Brother, the government, or anybody else to come in and do it. It's just we do it, and we get something out of it. We get to pet a goat, we get to see chickens, we get to hang out, eat fresh apples, we get to have a good time, a wholesome time with our kids, and hear good music. And
if you can't come, be a sponsor.
Be a sponsor. Tell me about being a sponsor.
Okay, so we have different sponsorship levels that'll bring with them either free tickets, T-shirts, or a photo opportunity for yourself and your family, and those will be noted at the program, at the event. And if you don't want to be a sponsor, you can't make it that day, make a donation. The donation, everything helps go to because it's all going to the Farmers Fund. All the revenues over and above expenses. We're trying to keep expenses lean. We have everybody working very closely with us, and all local vendors. So support it. This event will not be a one-off. We expect that the Connecticut Farm Strong there are a lot of people in our committee here who have a lot of ideas for other events that can run year-round. So we expect this thing to be a very important and become a very important part of our farmers' futures here in Connecticut, the Northwest corner.
Nice.
How does this event differ from other events, similar events you've been a part of?
I'm not aware of another. There are a lot of events around this area, especially in the summertime, because we have a very seasonal traffic pattern here. It's beautiful this time of the year. I'm fortunate enough to be a year-round resident, so I get to see it all 4 seasons. But summertime gets very busy. The calendar gets very crowded. But I'm not aware of any other event that's quite like this. This is a day-long music festival for families and kids and friends to come hang out in a beautiful area outdoors on a beautiful location, hear some good music, eat some good food, meet some people, hang out with friends, meet some farmers, learn a little bit more about what the farmers are doing up here, how they live their life and how they're going to make our lives so much better.
Yeah, and you get a seat at the table, so to speak,
Exactly
where you
right.
get to meet and talk with them and ask them questions. I mean, people always ask me questions. I just send them down to the growers and to the farmers.
That's right.
You know, like
They know more than me.
yeah, they know a lot
For
more
sure.
than I do. So yeah, and it's a really good chance to rub shoulders with the or elbows. Do you rub shoulders or elbows?
Well, it depends on how tight the room is.
Yeah, I think rub elbows, rub shoulders. Maybe after you get to know them more. I don't know. All right, that's it for today. That was Harvey Hubbell's Show and Tell, and we'll see you again. And y'all come back now. You hear?